What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports NBA Hardwood Show. We're breaking down tonight's NBA slate. Little 4-game slate for the people, so not as big as normal here on a Monday, but I'm here for it. I like it. A little bit of injury news, too, that we'll have. That'll be interesting on this slate with De'Aaron Fox coming back, same with Damian Lillard. So I'm definitely enjoying this slate, but just got fresh off of a decent Sunday. It was fine. It wasn't like a huge one or anything like that, but I enjoyed it. And now we got some NFL tonight as well, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. And DC, I was talking with someone today about this. We're getting to that time of year where it just starts to get even crazier, right? So someone asked if I was going home for Thanksgiving. I said no. Why would I go home for Thanksgiving when I just watch football all day? Then we have college football on Friday, right? And then it just gets absolutely nuts. So like this is like the 2-week stretch where it gets absolutely crazy. Also, because there's no Thanksgiving or no NBA on Thanksgiving, you get massive slates on that Wednesday and Friday as well. So we're getting to a fun time of year. So how's it going? And are you excited for this like crazy stretch we got coming up?
Yeah, definitely a really fun time of year. I love Thanksgiving football slate, with the games back to back like that. And then, yeah, obviously big NBA slates that week as well. And yeah, checking back in here on Monday after an NFL Sunday. Always some catching up to do. I don't really pay much attention, honestly, to NBA on Sunday. So you got to kind of review all the information, get back up to speed. And nice little 4-game slate. Should be a fun one. And no Jordan Poole. I'll say that right now. Jordan Poole's not going back in my core today. I'm done with that guy.
Yeah, well, if you're wondering, this is not one of my proudest bets I made today. I made 6 prop bets, DC. One of them was a Jordan Poole over. It was the one I looked at and I said, I don't want to do this shit. But it checked out.
No, we can't be playing Jordan Poole.
I'm not playing him. I'm just saying there was an over bet that I looked at and I said, I don't want to do it, but I'm just looking at numbers, and numbers said you got to consider it. Now, I don't just follow numbers. I do put some kind of thought into it, but it was large enough where I said, okay, the numbers got to give me a chance. But we'll see DFS-wise. I doubt I'm on him DFS, but hey, I got a prop over on him, sadly. If you want that, go check it out on the bet side. AP, how was your weekend? I believe the Chiefs had a bye, too. So, yeah, a nice little bye week from the Kansas City Chiefs. But how was that? And how excited are you for this big stretch of sports we got coming up soon?
Yeah, I mean, for the Chiefs, like Chiefs fan, I mean, DC knows we got to be feeling good. Like they're atop the AFC right now, kind of controlling things. It feels nice. It was a very nice weekend for Chiefs fans. And DC, we got to get you in the NBA streets on Sundays. I mean, it's an absolute print fest. 2 weeks in a row now. It's we call it Free Cheese Sunday. So it's a lot of fun. I think I got 7th or 8th in the 555 or whatever it was yesterday. I was a swap away from having – actually, what's crazy is my swap I was looking at was Jokic and Andre Drummond versus like a Bam and Anthony Davis. And I went with the Bam AD route over the Jokic route. And I probably should have went the other way. But there's a lot of value at the guard position. Yeah, Mangone, did you play yesterday? Did you play that slate?
I did. I thought really hard about playing, and I said I just need a break. Just needed
there was like 5 plays at the like point guard or guard that were all like really, really, really strong plays. So you had it forced you into a certain type of roster construction, and then we had a bunch of center plays that were also elite. So it was actually a pretty fun slate, and probably got no eyeballs outside of the people on our Discord in the NBA section.
I looked at the slate, and I looked at the team that you had, and the crazy part about what you're saying is I know Jokic put up 90. I also know Anthony Davis and Bam put up 54.25 and I think 63.25. And the crazy part is if I told you Bam and AD had that, you would be like, yeah, give me that combo every single time. So it's funny that Jokic and Drummond actually beat that combo AP, right?
Yeah. And B-Mac, Derek, I appreciate it. But again, I was still a net negative yesterday due to my Trevor Lawrence stacks that cost me a lot of money. I mean, what a donkey. Come on.
Jaguars look so bad in that game.
They look so bad.
You could tell. Like
right away I knew. I'm like, you idiot. Luckily, I had a lot of NBA work to do. So we were good.
For sure. Someone's saying Fox just got ruled questionable.
He started the day doubtful. He made shoot around. They upgraded him to questionable. So He went from like not even being a factor, and he's been like they said Fox was going to come back over a week ago, so I think he plays tonight. I put a bet on the over in that game, but the other reason why, and we'll get to it obviously, but with Okoro out, Karis LeVert's been playing a ton more, and the dude's been an absolute bucket right now. So I love that bet at 226 if you can get in there. I think it's a good over. We need Fox though to play for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. The reason I said if someone said questionable, they said now questionable. So I was under the impression he was playing, and then so I don't know what it's changed to, but I'm assuming he plays tonight too as well. We'll break it all down for you. We'll talk about it. We've got 4 games to discuss. I'm sure this will be a bit of I don't know, it won't be as long as the hour and 15 show, DC. So you know what I mean? We'll get out of here in an hour. Don't you worry. And hey, Holden's not here, so that's a plus as well for you. It should be a good show for our guy DC. But we'll break down this 4-game NBA slate. Again, I like this NBA slate. I think it's an interesting one. I think you can create a little bit of your own value today. One reason I didn't love yesterday's slate AP is I felt like there was just value galore, right? I don't love those slates. I like when we kind of create our own value and enjoy it. So I'm excited to really break down this 4-game slate with you guys. If you guys could, before we start though, please hit that like. We appreciate it a ton. 180 of you watching, 40 likes. So please pound that like there. Phallic, I did make an addition to my background. We got a tumbler there for you. So it's got a nice little thing of water in there. If you want, go to the Run Pure Sports store, Phallic, buy this and, toss a little drink in there. Maybe a little tasty alcoholic beverage while you watch the Broncos and the Bills tonight. So head on over to the Run Pure Sports store and give that a look. DC's got his on it as well. I think he's got the SaberSim sticker as well. What a company man.
Yeah, SaberSim sticker on there. Absolutely.
That's a company man right there. So I definitely like Tumblr. But let's move this thing along. Let's get to the first game. I want to discuss the Knicks and the Celtics. Curious to get your guys' take on this, because if I had to pick like the game that likely is the least appealing, I think it's this one. Again, there's not like this like one game that sticks out. There's like a couple spots. I think this is the least appealing game on the slate. Some of it is because of the price tags, right? You look at these price tags that we got. All the Celtics are basically expensive for the most part. And then the Knicks, most part, they're priced up. And they're priced up because RJ Barrett was out, right? Josh Hart is still at that 5.3K price tag. I mean, before the injury, he was like 4.3 or 4.5. And it just doesn't seem like a super appealing game. DC, I'll go over to you first to break this one down. Again, it's a 4-game slate. I don't think you should just be Xing this game off if you're MMEing. But I do think you can make an argument to limit some of your plays in this game. So how do you want to break this thing down?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think this game is the worst for DFS purposes. I've been pretty much avoiding playing guys versus Boston. Like that defense, I think they're second in the league in efficiency right now. I think they've got the 3rd best half-court defense. They don't allow a lot of transitions. It's just a really tough team to go against, to accumulate fantasy points against. The Celtics are. So I'm mostly off of the Knicks. Like you said, I just think most of their guys are overpriced. Brunson would probably be the guy I'd be most likely to use, maybe a Mitch Robinson on the interior, but mostly off of the Knicks side of it. Celtics, though, I think you can go to these guys. Jason Tatum, I really like the matchup for him. I think he's a quality play, and obviously a lot kind of depends on if you think Fox is going to go, right? Because I think Fox playing, for me, kind of takes Sabonis out of the equation as a spend up. So, yeah, Jason Tatum, I think a reasonable way to go. And then I like Jaylen Brown some here as well. Minutes haven't been super high recently, but, those can come back up at any time. So, yeah, Celtics, I ranked them Tatum 1, Brown 2, and then probably not going to Holiday or White. So I guess Porzingis would probably be the 3rd option on the Celtics for me.
All right, AP, we'll go to you to talk about this game. Before we do that, you know ball, right? Or as the kids say on Twitter, you know ball. That's the saying nowadays. We got a guy in chat. He says, Ant is the next Kobe, MJ, and T-Mac. Listen, I love Ant. Huge Ant guy. I think he has the potential to be a great one day. But my question is, we can't put T-Mac in Kobe.
No, I was going to say that.
Category. Like, what are we doing here? I love T-Mac. T-Mac was awesome. Yeah, awesome. But we cannot disrespect Kobe and MJ like that. Is that correct, AP?
Did you guys lose me? Am I back now? My whole screen like froze. The comment just like froze my screen.
The comment froze your screen because it was so disgraceful. What's your thoughts on that?
that is funny. I'm looking because I was looking at that. I mean, Anthony Edwards. I mean, dude, he's good. He's really, really good. So it cut out though. I meant, what was your question?
No, my question was basically we can't be putting T-Mac in the same category as Kobe and MJ. That's disrespectful.
No, you definitely can't. Yeah.
But listen, I love him. I've talked him up since day one. So I'm excited to see him continue to grow and be better. We'll see how that Timberwolves team is. I try to tell people though, it's November. We're watching November basketball. So let's all settle down. But
yeah, we got. I mean, Bogart, like Anthony Edwards playing like he is. And we got Bogarts and I love Bogarts. He's the freaking man. Awesome in Discord, but we got him talking about Rudy Gobert, like when Anthony Edwards is Karl Anthony Towns finally playing good too, and we're just sitting there talking about like the Rudy Gobert trade. So.
Well, the one thing to note with it, AP, is like Rudy's playing very off ball right now, so he's leaving shots open, which is fine, but like it's the regular season and playoffs a little bit different. And like my one buddy's a huge Timberwolves fan. He talks them up like they're the greatest thing ever, right? He's like, oh, we beat the Nuggets, we beat the Celtics. And the one thing I keep trying to say is when you think of like outcomes for teams to like win a title, because he thinks they're gonna win the title, and he's a rational Timberwolves fan. I try to tell him the one route they win is Ant Edwards has to play like a monster. Like he has to play like MJ basically in order for them to win. And it's asking a lot. He's going to play great, but he has to play like MJ basically. It's my thought process.
I mean, I don't know. You got from when I look at that team and you just look at matchups and stuff, they have so many routes that they can go. You got Nas off the bench. You got Kyle Anderson that just, comes in and can facilitate if need be. There's a lot like matchups wise, they can match up with a lot of teams and they make it tough on opposing teams too. Aren't they? I mean, DC, you probably know. What are they like? At least top 5 in defensive efficiency as a team? Like I think definitely in the top 5.
I know they're first in half court defense. They've just been stifling teams in the half court.
They're not just first, DC. They're not just first. It's like they're first and then seconds down here, right? It's a big gap.
There's like a bigger gap between them and second place than like second to 13th. There's something crazy like that. So they've been awesome, which does make sense with the roster construction they have. You would think they would be good on defense. I still wish they wouldn't have done the Gobert trade, like just built around Edwards, but yeah, working out right now. And they also play Denver tough. There's some thought that they kind of built their team to try to compete with the Nuggets. So yeah, it's been fun watching them, but a longtime Timberwolves fan here. I've been fooled many times by the Wolves, and they always come crashing back to earth at some point. So I'm trying to keep my my expectations in check.
Hey, at least they didn't like try to trade for like a James Harden or something. I mean, you guys got lucky there. What a disaster that guy is.
Yeah, I mean, we have time to mess around and talk about it. What's your opinions on that? My opinion is we're 5 games in. It's November. Like, I'm not saying that James Harden is like Clippers of the title contenders. Amazing, but I do.
He's not the same. We've been saying it for forever. Like we all agreed. Like Philly was better with like Maxey is the better player. We talked about this last year. And Harden, he's just getting old and he's overvaluing himself. And I just like he fails to recognize where he is at in the league right now, and he's getting passed by everyone. And but he's still throwing his name value around. And I mean, good for him because he's getting paid. And at the bottom line, that's like what those guys probably want. I'm sure he wants a ring, but I don't see it coming with this group. I'll bet I've been betting against them. I couldn't do it with Memphis, and when Memphis won, I'm like, holy shit, this team is bad. Like they are so bad.
They'll the one thing that'll probably end up happening is they'll readjust the Harden role to some degree and get it righted, but will it be right enough to win a title? That's the question. It's probably no, but we'll have to see. Again, they have Kawhi. They'll be fine. They'll figure something out. DC, do you have any opinions on the Clippers trade?
Yeah, I've stated it a few times now. I don't get it at all. I mean, just the roster construction makes no sense. I think like Harden and Westbrook has to be about as bad a pairing, complementary skills wise as you can possibly have. And then Paul George and Kawhi Leonard kind of need the ball too. It just, I mean, for at least in their primes, amazing players. But I'm with AP. I don't see this team. Obviously, they're going to be better than they've been recently. but I don't think they're legit title contenders or anything like that.
And he slows the game down like so much, and that just like if you're slowing the game down with Russell Westbrook, like what are you doing? That's like his advantage is in transition and like pushing the pace. So like you're doing him I think it's a bad situation. So
yeah, I'm with you, but I'm also in the camp of like I don't like overreacting too much yet. So I'm not down to bury them and say like they're not making playoffs and they suck and all that. So, but
are you trying to follow the chat like with me? I've been like looking over your reading. I'm like, what's going on
in the chat?
What is going on? I mean, we only got 4 games, so it's fine. But like, what are we doing?
AP, I'm reading our social media chat where Rubio decided to chime in and say, "Oh, that we did this new tweet where we talked about injury stuff. Where I did a video and I made a joke that said, imagine if I had a pair of assets." And then Captain posted a video of me with my shirt off and said, "You don't." So he was basically just saying that I got some knockers.
It's interesting the captain like pulled that video so fast. Like,
well, yeah,
Captain, what are we doing?
Captain has that gift probably in the favorite section, like I do as well. So it's definitely probably in his favorites. And it's a funny one that was created in our Discord. Which another reason why our Discord is great. You should get into it. Again, use that code NBA15 to get you 15% off. To check out all the content at Run Pure Sports. And let me tell you, this is a time of year that we need to check it all out. But let's move this thing along to the Celtics and Knicks, though. AP, break it down for me, because again, not a super appealing game, but maybe you have a different opinion here on a 4-game slate.
So I'm not like a huge rules type person with the NBA, but there are a few situations where I do implement them. The Celtics have been one. I've just been literally grouping all their starters into a group and just saying no more than one. And it's actually worked out pretty good. I might loosen that up on a 4-game slate, but still, it's either like Jaylen Brown has his nights or Jason Tatum has his nights. Porzingis, he only had maybe one night. It was, I think, probably against this Knicks team where he put up 50. Outside of that, he's done absolutely nothing in relation to his price. So I haven't really been playing him. But then the interesting is Derek White or Drew Holiday. And that's where I might lax the rule just a little bit. But the one thing to note, too, so the Knicks on like a 4 or 5 game win streak, maybe it's only 3. 3 games. But they've looked pretty good against, not the best opponents, Clippers, Spurs, Hornets. But they've looked good, and a lot of it is due to Julius Randle actually playing a little better. I don't know if we're going to say that. Maybe it's more like fantasy-wise. He's been like 42 DK points in 27 minutes against the Hornets. So, like, what I'm getting at is Randle, 8,100, power forward, center eligible, and he was 5 for 22 against Boston the first time they played and still put up 45 DK points. His usage rate has been absolutely insane, averaging like 34% over the last 3 games during this win streak. So I think Randle is very much in play. RJ Barrett's also been playing really good, and then it's Brunson. So I do have, in MME formats, I do have a little interest in the Knicks, and this goes back to that one. DC, I think we talked about this, kind of the Brunson or Randle, 2 guys that want the rock in their hand. We typically see one or the other go off, and then you got RJ Barrett is kind of the glue guy, and you got Quickly, who's actually been playing a little bit more minutes, and he's been productive off the bench. Again, if you're running 150, I think you could have Quickly in your pool. I don't love it, but I think you could. If you're playing like single entry 3 max, I don't even think you consider him. So again, I'm not in love with this game, but I do think some pieces are viable. I just think you got to base it around rules that you create.
Yeah. Any other thoughts here, DC, on this game?
No, not really. Yeah, I agree with most of what AP just said.
For sure. Let's keep this thing moving along. Let's go over to the next game. I lost my track here. We're at the Washington Wizards and the Toronto Raptors. These 2 games lock at 7:30, by the way. So if it's like, if you're a member and it's 6:45 and you're running, where are the cores? 15 minutes left. Not so fast. We got the 7:30 lock time today. So got an extra 30 minutes to hang out and relax. That gives me an extra AP. That gives me an extra 30 minutes to post gifts in the Discord, I guess, right? Or will my 6 o'clock morning still pile in there at that time?
No, I like that. And one last thing about the Celtics. Sorry, I meant to bring this up. So when you look at their spreads like every day, like even though this series against the Knicks sometimes is pretty close, the Celtics are just, I mean, they're shooting so many threes a game. Like their offense is literally just firing away. And when they hit, like they did in the third quarter against the Raptors over the weekend, and you're missing and you're not making those transition buckets on the other way, these teams just get destroyed. And that's why you see a lot of lopsided games, which brings blowout risk kind of into play, which is what we saw in the Boston Celtics Raptors game over the weekend. But I think the Knicks game, I think the Knicks keep it close, and it has to be due to Randall. So I definitely like him. But yeah, we get an extra 30 minutes tonight. I like that. That helps me out a lot. And yeah, it's going to be nice.
Yep, definitely helps out. Then we get to shift over to NFL, which, listen, if you want, check out the NFL show that we're going to have tonight. It'll be with Big T, JSU, and Wiley. I believe it's free over here on the YouTube channel. So if you subscribe to the channel, you can check that out. But next team up is the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards. And DC, we're definitely going to you first because we got to get your take on Jordan Poole. We got to hear you rant and complain about him a little bit. He is 7K. Obviously going to not have some ownership today, I would assume. And on a short slate, if he booms, you'll be able to hit. But I don't know if I'm going to get there. Then we have OG Anunoby and Gary Trent. We are waiting on that news. That's going to be important. That could obviously shake some stuff up with the Raptors. You and I have also talked about the Pascal Siakam stuff. Stop playing him. We don't need to be playing him right now. We're going to wait for that price to keep going down, and I am still in the camp of that, and I would rather play Scotty Barnes. So let's get your take on how to handle this Raptors team because they are against the Washington Wizards. This is a team that we attack in DFS pretty much every single day that they play.
You got to attack them. I mean, just a horrific defense. They play with pace, and I don't think this defense is getting any better for Washington. I think they're going to be among or maybe the worst defense all season long, just with the roster they have. They just don't have it. So certainly a team that you do want to attack. And yeah, we were on the, it's almost like a changing of the guard with how Toronto played. Obviously they got rid of Van Vliet, but like in years past, it used to be Siakam as like the secondary playmaker. It was obvious from the jump that that's not really going to be the case with this team anymore. It's all Scotty Barnes and it's Dennis Schroeder who's having a really good season for the Raptors right now. I don't mind him at 6,600. It is kind of crazy to see Barnes priced all the way up at 9K, but I mean he's earned it. He's coming off his first bad game of the entire season. And it was against the Celtics, right? So you kind of understand it was a little bit of a blowout at the end, didn't get the minutes. I'll give him a pass on that one. I expect him to return to the 45 to 55 fantasy points that he's put up in almost every other game. Obviously, the matchup couldn't really be much better against Washington, and an extra boost if OG Anunoby misses as well. So, yeah, I'm in on the Scotty Barnes, even with the elevated price tag. I'm with you. I haven't played Siakam yet this season and won't be doing that tonight. And then centers, right, have destroyed the Wizards. So Jakob Poeltl, like his minutes are somewhat in question on a night-to-night basis, but I do love the matchup for him on the interior. I don't mind on a bigger slate. I probably wouldn't do it at 6,100, but on this slate, I think you can do it. So yeah, it's Barnes, Schroeder, Jakob Poeltl for me, and then on the Wizards side, Kuzma, I think, is really the guy that's playing decent for this team. You could go there. I like him better. We don't know for sure who OG will guard, but I imagine he might be on Kuzma. So maybe that would take him down a little bit, but he would be the Wizard that I'd be most likely to play tonight.
Yeah, and listen, I don't know what the injury status is going to be on those guys. That obviously affects some decision making, but with just saying these guys are in and analyzing it that way, I think with the Gallinari news, with him being out, I think that matters a lot for how the Wizards play the game, because if you have Gallinari off the court, you can't really do your small ball 5 lineups as easily. And then that, I think, naturally helps Gafford's minutes a little bit more and secure some of his minutes up, which on the flip side could secure Jakob Poeltl's minutes a little bit as well. But it also depends on some of that Toronto news, how that all shakes out. So that's something we'll kind of digest and figure out once we get that news. But I do think Gallinari news matters, that you could see some more small ball 5 lineups from or less small ball 5 lineups from this Wizards team because of that. AP, what's your opinion on how to handle this injury news and how to handle the Wizards and the Raptors here?
I am done trying to speculate on rotation adjustments that Wes Unseld Jr. is going to make, it's just been impossible to predict. I mean, okay, so yesterday, so they had it was like a 1 p.m., 2 p.m. tip. I actually had the game kind of on the background while watching football. But, I mean, Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma were like a combined net 52. It was just – they were an absolute embarrassment. They were just horrendous. So, again, you probably got to give them some slack. Like Saturday night, probably went out, had a good time, and had a 2 p.m. tip. They're probably a little hungover. So, is what it is. But, yeah, the Wizards, I mean, in this matchup, it's just been a print fest, like playing players against them. Defensively, they're terrible. We just need them to keep pace, which Kuzma has been the guy to help do that. So, it's been more of the bench, like Landry Shamet and company kind of off the bench there. And Corey Kispert, too. They've been the ones that have come in and like hit buckets to keep them in games, which has been wild. But Tyus Jones has been terrible. Jordan Poole has been terrible. Denny Avdia has been pretty good. He's been kind of a reliable bucket. I think this is a matchup where they're going to need him tonight. But again, I don't trust this Wizards team at all. So one note, and I followed. So I actually played. It was I think Saturday night. It was a small slate, and it was the Raptors Celtics game. I actually played Siakam. And I just saw something that changed in the Dallas game. The offense was more so flowing through him. And you can see it in the metrics too. His usage rate spiked up big time. And then it happened where the offense he was basically in that Scotty Barnes type of role running the offense. You see it in the usage rate, 36% against Boston. Obviously that game got out of hand, but he was on pace to just nuke. Scotty couldn't hit a shot. He was like, for whatever from 3-point range, and Siakam couldn't too. But I think that could flip-flop. Like, I don't have a strong read. I'm with you guys. I think it could be either or. So I think how you play it is like from an ownership standpoint. I like both guys tonight. Keep an eye on OG Anunoby. If he misses, I think it upgrades the game even more. He's one of the best on-ball defenders out there. And who knows do they really need to put him on Jordan Poole? I think right now, I don't even know if you need your best defender on Jordan Poole to be honest. So
he's defending himself just
fine. He really is. So I think I think this is going to be one of those spots, and we've seen a tight rotation in close games from the Raptors where Schroeder, Barnes, Siakam definitely all in play. Keep an eye on the OG news. We would want to be considering like Gary Trent, Malachi Flynn has seen extra run too. Grady Dick, the rookie, I don't really trust him. He hasn't looked good when he's been out there either. But maybe in a matchup against the Wizards, I don't know. There's a lot of weird things that could happen in close games. I think Otto Porter, the veteran, is the guy they're going to trust. But like in blowouts, he got no blowout run the other day. So I think you stick with the starters here. I think you rotate around Siakam, Scotty Barnes, and Schroeder as your core three. And maybe you set a rule where it's like two of those three. Because I don't know if you want to play Siakam, Barnes, and Schroeder all together. They would have to this game would have to like stay close and go way over the total for those three to all smash. So I kind of like that rule where it's like two of the three and then maybe mixing in a peripheral piece. If you think the game blows out, I don't know. What do you guys think about Boucher, our guy, Chris Boucher? We've not seen him do anything yet this season, but he's a guy in an easy matchup that can absolutely crush in like 22 minutes.
Yeah, he did get the entirety of the blowout run, right? Against Boston, played the entire fourth quarter. Yeah. So when I think like smaller slates, you can kind of play, game scripts a little bit more, play a blowout script. Yeah, I think he would make sense. What is he, 4,200? Yeah.
42, which isn't cheap. I mean,
I wouldn't
that's
play
the
him.
only problem.
I definitely wouldn't play him with a bunch of other Raptors, though. It'd be kind of like a one-off, and then you obviously hope the game gets out of hand late, and he gets all that run in the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah, it's the Boucher thing. So I was on the podcast with Bobby last night, and I asked him the question because I know he likes playing Boucher. And it's mainly his production's good. It's mainly a minutes thing. And if I had to pick DC, right, if I had to pick one matchup for Chris Boucher to have to get his best fantasy point game on the year, this is the matchup, right? Possible blowout run against the Wizards. Like it's the stone nut spot if you're playing Chris Boucher. And it's a good slate for it, right? It's not a 12-gamer like DC said. It's a shorter slate. So I don't mind it. I wish the price was like 3.8 or a little bit cheaper, but I don't hate it in tournaments for sure. Taking a shot on that. Again, the injury news will be super important here, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be valuable. That's why you got to be in the Discord chat. We break it all down in there for you guys. Let's go over to this next game, though. Chicago Bulls, Milwaukee Bucks. Definitely a game that we have to talk about. There's definitely some good stuff here. I think the guards against Damian Lillard is something we want to target pretty much every slate. And I honestly think you could play both Kobe White and Zach LaVine together. As crazy as that sounds, it doesn't sound like an optimal thing or something you want to do, but I really, really do think that these Bulls guards are in a really great spot tonight. Also, it is nice. I think small forward hasn't been a great position overall this year. It's a little better today, but it's nice that you can get Zach LaVine over there. Also, another small forward that this guy shouldn't have small forward eligibility, but he has it today is Ayo Dosunmu. I'm pretty surprised that they gave him that eligibility, but I do think he's a good guy that we want to consider. AP, I know you talked about playing Drummond the other day. Is this a spot to play Drummond at 4-7 on a shorter slate? I don't totally think so. And are you interested in Giannis as a spend-up contrarian stud?
Yeah, so the Bulls, they've been that other team where, I start the show off saying that I'm not big into rules, and then we got all these teams that are ones where I like to create rules around. Like the Bulls are typically one of them. I might loosen that rule up a little bit. Before it was one max of the three bigs, if you want to call them that, LaVine, DeRozan, and Vucevic. But the prices are nice. The Bucks play with a lot of pace, and defensively, they've been really bad. I think we've all seen, or a lot of us have seen, that highlight of Malik Beasley just getting absolutely cooked by Halliburton, which was last week. So, yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting spot. We also have, injuries on the Bulls side. Caruso is out or doubtful, and it looks like Pat Williams is probable. But still, you get a relatively tight rotation from the Bulls side. Kobe White, 5'4", flowchart play, obviously in that matchup against Dame Lillard. But yeah, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic. I think it's, for me, one of those three, and then I'm fine pairing them with like a Kobe White. Ayo Dosunmu, I think he's going to get run. He's going to be maybe a projected chalky value. I don't know if you've seen that yet or not, but it looks like he picked up a lot of those Caruso minutes at 3-4. It seems like he might be a decent value that you can go to on this slate. Run back wise, I don't know. I still think you could. It seems like we lack studs on this slate, so Giannis isn't the worst spin. He's been pretty incredible of late, but that's been with Dame out of the lineup. It seems like when Dame is in there, they really want to give him opportunities, and obviously they take away from each other. In the matchup against the Bulls, like I want to fire on these Bucks overs when Dame is in. I think it's a great bet. I struggle to bet Bulls games overs. These games can be so tilting to watch. They can play just that half court game, just dribbling the ball up, and DeRozan with his mid-range game and everything. And if they're not hitting shots, it becomes really, really tough. So I don't know. I'm torn. I think you got to play some Bulls side, or some guys from the Bulls side, but I'm really torn on the Bucks. Like, do you spend up for Giannis? Do you take a shot on Dame? Middleton, I don't think you can play on this slate. He's only playing 19 minutes a game. You see, some of these other guys, the Pat Cons and Marjan, getting those extra Middleton minutes. So kind of a tough rotation on the Bucks side.
Yeah, the Bucks side is definitely a little bit tougher for sure. I know Bobby Portis, it's a revenge game, right? This is the team that he punched Nikola Mirotic in. So a little revenge factor there if you're into that. DC, are you into some Bobby Portis revenge and maybe some of these Bulls values on this slate?
I think Portis has like a really, really strong history against the Bulls, if I recall correctly. So, yeah, I think
I'll look it up for you. For you.
I'm pretty sure that's true. I think he's an interesting play either way. Bulls have been really, really bad defensively. And we've seen Giannis come alive in 3 of these last 4 games. He's been awesome. Obviously, it's going to come and go with the Lillard pairing. But, yeah, I don't mind Giannis at the spend up at 11-1 on this particular slate. And then the rest of the Milwaukee, though, it's kind of tough with Giannis. Lillard in there, it's kind of hard to go to anyone else. The minutes don't seem to be super secure. But I think you have to look at some of these Bulls, even though we might, like AP said, I'm not excited to play these guys, but you have to, I think, consider them. Milwaukee, once again, allowing a lot of three-point attempts, and they're also allowing the most scoring against them of any team in the mid-range, which obviously is kind of where DeRozan does all of his damage. So, yeah, I like DeRozan, and then obviously LaVine can score on the outside. And, yeah, I mean, the Bucks, I think, they have the biggest change, from the good defenders, obviously Giannis, Brook Lopez, and then you get down to the guards, and it's Lillard, it's Beasley, right? Like even Middleton is slow. They just Connaughton, they just don't really have anybody to defend the perimeter well. So you have to consider, I think, LaVine, Kobe White, and then DeRozan, probably off of Vucevic in this matchup. And AP, did you get the Portis against the Bulls stats?
Yeah, so I mean, he's basically like averaging 30 DK points against them. Okay. His lowest point total against them is 20, a little over 20. So he's been a good play against this team, and it really hasn't mattered if it's in Chicago or at home. So he obviously gets motivated for this matchup.
Makes sense. Yeah.
All right. No, it's definitely a good game for sure. I want to target these guards. The Bobby Portis thing is definitely not a bad idea. He is someone I'm definitely considering here in this spot. So should be a fun game. I don't know do we have the money to spend up for Giannis, DC? Do you think that he's a guy that you're going to try to get in there? I think he's going to be lower owned tonight, but do you think he's worth kind of getting exposure to?
It's kind of hard to get him. There's not that much value, especially now with what looks like Fox is probably going to play. So I think he's hard to get to. It does seem more like a mid-range type of build night, but yeah, I mean, I do think Giannis obviously has the best chance by far of putting up 60-plus fantasy points of anybody out in the slate. So, yeah, if you can squeeze him in, I think it's worth it, but it does seem more of like a mid-range slate to me.
All right, let's move on to the last game of this slate. Before we do that, guys, again, please hit that like. We appreciate it here. We got almost 500 watching. We got 86 likes, and we got people talking about Malik Beasley, I don't know, clapping I think Pippen's wife's cheeks or something like that. So chat is on fire today, as always. So if you could, please hit that like, comment in the chat. We appreciate it. Let's go over to this last game on the slate. Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings. Definitely an interesting game because De'Aaron Fox, 8.4K. I'll admit, I am a De'Aaron Fox guy. I love to roster him. First game back, it gets a little tougher to click that button because you never know if there's going to be a minutes limit or anything like that. I know they got a big 7-game road trip coming up, but I kind of like De'Aaron Fox. I want to see where everyone is at in the industry on it and then kind of make a decision looking at projected ownership and everything because I don't know. I think the ceiling is worth it. But I am worried about the minutes, of course. Then you got Sabonis as a spend in not an amazing matchup dealing with Mobley and Jared Allen down there. You got Donovan Mitchell. You could always make a case, has a pretty nice ceiling. But this team is more crowded than it was in the past, right? Cleveland was one of those teams at the start of the year. We were just loading up injury options. There's injuries everywhere. We're just loading up these guys. So some of the prices are a little up there. AP, I'll go to you first because you were someone that was on the over on this game. So I assume you like some fantasy points here between these guys. So what's your thoughts here on the Kings and the Cavs?
Yeah, a pretty nice flowchart spot for Cavs, especially I would upgrade it if Fox is in. We just know that Fox is going to add to the number of possessions to this overall game. He just plays with a ton of pace. Jared Allen is 5'7". He's getting close to 30 minutes, so he's gradually, 25, then 28 last game. You got to think in this matchup, 30 plus. He's started to look decent. He's 5'7", 5'7" in a matchup where they're going to need some bigs, some size. I think he's going to make for a great center play. Evan Mobley, too, has been just doing his thing. But one thing I've noticed with Allen back, that rebounding upside. So, back at the, Golden State game, I mean, he was just all over the boards. But that's going to be a much bigger risk now with Jared Allen back in this lineup. The other thing, too, to note, with Okoro out, and this is the other reason why I really like the over in this game. Okoro, what's his purpose? He's not a offensive usage guy. I mean, he's a 3-and-D guy, and it's not even like he hits a ton of threes, but they like him out there for his defense. Karis LeVert has been awesome, man. He's been playing some ball, and the price tag is indicative of that. He's running out there in like starter type minutes, 35, 34, 31 the last 3 games, and he's put up 40 pieces in back-to-back spots. And this is a good matchup for him. I'm not saying like he's my favorite play. I think on a 4-game slate, I think he will make my player pool, but it just helps. It's going to help the overall scoring environment of this game. So this is the game that I do think I'm going to have multiple pieces. Again, this is another team where I have some rules. I feel like it's either Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell. So that's kind of a nice backcourt rule. I do that same rule with Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, Mobley or Allen. Allen's price, I don't think you need to do that rule because Allen's price tag is low enough. I could see both of those guys go off. I'm really curious on what you guys are going to do with Fox, though. 8-4. If he's a full go, no limitations, that is a nice price tag. And without Okoro in there, it's still the Cavs are still a good defensive team, but they do lose kind of that hard, a core piece of their defense. And it's substituted now with more offense, with Max Strus, Karis LeVert. So I think that, playing a guy like Fox or keeping him in your pool is going to be something that we want to consider on the slate. So 226 total. I like the overseer. I think we see points, and I think we see some fantasy goodness. So if you don't have any points left remaining, in your lineups before this game starts, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be feeling too confident if you're sitting atop waiting for this game to start.
Yeah, so we got some people in the chat saying, guess I'm missing something. I thought Fox was doubtful. He participated in shoot-around. We're assuming he plays. Of course, there's a chance it maybe doesn't, but he's trending in the right direction to play, so not on the doubtful side. Someone else asked, is Herder in play with Fox back? I do think Herder and some of these other guys take a bit of a hit, but you can still play them in tournaments. You're going to get lower ownership, but it is harder to pay off the price tag for sure with Fox in there. Just understand that when kind of building out your teams. I wouldn't want to just have a Kings game stack all the way. I'd want some exposure, but I don't want to stack them up all the way just because I think there's heftier price tags on Monk, Herder, and some of those other options, Keegan Murray. So DC, break this one down though, because again, I think AP has some good points where he says at the end of the night, if you're sitting up in first place like Big T likes to do, just stacking up the first games, I don't know. I'm not saying for sure there's someone in this game, the winning lineup, but I do think that there'll be people definitely running you down. You'll have to be sweating it out for sure.
Yeah, I think both backcourts look good here. Obviously, assuming De'Aaron Fox plays down at 8.4K, it's a pretty nice price tag for Fox. And you would assume if he's out there, he'll be good to go. Like we thought he would be back earlier than this. So it does seem like they've been cautious with him. So he should be a full go. I think he's an interesting play. He's still going to be lower owned, right? Because people just they see the questionable tag. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to have to swap whatever it is. So yeah, Fox will be lower owned than he should be. I think he's definitely a fun one to build around. And then, the Cleveland side, I really like the LeVert call. They're using him in a really, really good role. He comes off the bench still, but these last couple games, he basically comes in halfway through the first quarter and then plays, the rest of the quarter and the whole second quarter. And then he does that in the second half as well. So he's getting up to like 34, 35 minutes. And Cleveland needs his offense, right? Besides Garland and Mitchell, there's just not a lot there for this team offensively. Obviously, really good defensively. I'm in on LeVert. I think you got to do max 2 of LeVert, Mitchell, and Garland, but I think all 3 guys in this matchup look like a pretty good play. And then I thought Sabonis. I think Sabonis is interesting if Fox is out, but I can't pay the 10.1K if Fox is in. Just when Fox is out, they run everything through Sabonis. What he had, like 90 front court touches in the last game. I think he had 20 potential assists, 13 actual assists. Like they just run it all through Sabonis when Fox is out. So certainly that news, obviously critical to react properly to that. But then, it's the Cavs backcourt, including LeVert. All 3 of those guys I think are pretty good plays tonight.
All right, that obviously wraps up our breakdown. We had tons of games to talk about, only 4, but hey, it's still it's a fun slate. AP, I guess before we get to plays of the day and stuff, do you have like a slate overview on everything? Because I think I think it's a really good slate, especially for only being 4 games. I think it's not this slate. Like yesterday, for instance, I know you had a great day, so you'd like the slate to be like yesterday, but it felt like a day of just like obvious values and everything to get to. So what's your kind of overview of this slate?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it is we know some Raptors pieces are going to get there, but is that game, if the game stays close, it's definitely going to be the starters. If it's a blowout, if the Wizards they could get absolutely destroyed tonight, we could all be tilted. And it might be a slate where you need, because the slate lacks value too. So I think it's a perfect slate for people that multi-enter, and you got to have your script set up. Like, there could be like a Chris Boucher could go absolutely nuts if that game blows out and if he got extended run. And I don't even know if I am comfortable playing him yet, but I got that on my mind. That's how bad this Wizards team is defensively. If the game stays close, like Siakam or Barnes, like one of those guys is going to crush. Schroeder could absolutely crush. You could make the same case too with Knicks Celtics. Like Julius Randle, if the game stays close and if they're battling into the fourth, I mean, Jason Tatum isn't his history against this Knicks team just crazy? Like, I know first game of the season, he put up a 60-piece DK scoring-wise against them. So, like, as far as studs go, he is one that I am looking at, and I think it's interesting. Julius Randle, 8-1. So, it's a fun 4-game slate. I always like these slate. Like, I think the best slates are between 4 and 7 games. Curious to see what your opinions are. And so, yeah, the last comment there is, I think if you wait till that final game, you're going to have some nice pieces. And I think that's where the difference is going to be in tournaments tonight.
All right, good stuff. Our guy Snyder, he said, great show, fellas. I'm so Snyder didn't watch any of the show, and he just happened to pop in for like a great show, fellas, randomly, and just dipped out. So, but
yeah, we appreciate that, though. We appreciate that for the good mojo.
Of course we do. The Snyder soldiers hopping in there, and obviously with the what'd you think of the comment the other day, DC? Did you hear Snyder's comment about the Bengals? They were they were sleeping on the Texans because they got a big game on Thursday. Did you catch that chat, DC?
No, I didn't see that. Yeah, but
this will be a fun conversation. We got some time to mess around. So and I guess Snyder's right because the Bengals lost, but Snyder was in the chat and he said, I think the Bengals lose because they're looking ahead, right? This is like a look ahead spot where you kind of sleep on the Texans and you got the Ravens on Thursday Night Football. So were you buying that that's the reason the Bengals lost on Sunday, DC?
No, I'm still tilted over Trenton Irwin catching the first touchdown pass of the day. He's out there like 12% of snaps, gets 3 targets, and gets there on the first play of the day. So I got a text from Big T right away. How dare you doubt Trenton Irwin?
Did you shut it down right away, DC? Did you or did you go? You had to went to grab like a second like beer or a third one right when that happened, right?
Yeah. Caused a few extra beers for sure. The Trenton Irwin tilt, and then of course CMC can't get a touchdown after his streak breaks on the day the 49ers score 34 points, which was shocking. So anyway, we're over it. We're over the football today.
Yes, we are. We do have a game tonight. Obviously, that'll be fun. Broncos country, let's ride. I'll be rooting for them to make it a game at least because I don't want to watch a shit show once again. And Snyder, I said next time I want to bait you. You are watching the show. He's in there still talking up the tickets in Cincinnati.
So. Breaking news, guys. Evan Fournier is ruled out tonight. I literally had no idea he was still in the league. So there you go.
AP, I did a little like rundown of the injury report for Twitter, and I saw Evan Fournier was questionable, and I was like, do I put that in this injury report? No, probably not, right? Like we don't need to talk up Evan Fournier. There's no point of doing that. So, but yeah, let's get to the plays of the day for the people. Let's go with you first, DC. We'll get the soldiers out. Give me your soldier on tonight's slate.
I hope I'm not taking AP's play, but I'm going to go with this man, Karis LeVert. I'm seeing him down probably below 5% ownership. I think people just don't want to play him because he's coming off the bench. I get it, but he's playing starters minutes, and I think that's the plan going forward, especially with Okoro out and Cleveland running that tight rotation. So, yeah, Karis LeVert, the mom's basement play of the day.
All right, Karis LeVert, mom's basement play of the day, or the soldier of the day. Whatever you want to call it. AP, we'll go over to you next. Who is your soldier here on this slate?
I gotta go back to attacking this Wizards team. I gotta go with my guy, Pascal, Siakam, AK. Hopefully that usage trend stays the same. I'm gonna be playing some Scotty Barnes too, but Siakam looked to be the guy that over the last 2 games. I do think it's going to be a zigzaggy type of thing, but he's been with the team longer, so he's got a few more years under the belt over Scotty Barnes. So maybe he's not ready just yet to give up the rock. So Pascal Siakam, my play of the day.
All right, Pascal's fine. I was going to go to another guy in that game, but I was going to maybe say Scotty, but I can't say Scotty. Here's another guy, and I kind of wanted to attack this spot anyways, so I'm going to give out Zach LaVine. I think we want to attack the Bucks with guards all season long. Damian Lillard, sure, Damian Lillard is there to help win a title, but dude, it's November. There's no way this dude is playing defense. He struggles to play defense even in April. He's going to be asked at it when it comes to November defense. So we're attacking Damian Lillard. My soldier is Zach LaVine. He will be my play of the day, but that is going to wrap it up for us. Thanks a lot for joining us. Before we get on out of here, enjoy this tasty picture of DC getting blocked by a man in cargo shorts. But for me, Mangone, AP, and DC, we'll see you guys later.